It's a tough legal case to say we're going to force the speaker to swear in a member of Congress in a particular amount of time.
And I think everyone agrees that she's qualified under the Constitution to serve.
Are you concerned that he's not going to do it at all? What do you think happens now? We have touched on this legislator in Arizona, Adelita Grijalva, who has not been sworn in. And Mike Johnson is making all sorts of excuses for why. I've thought that this would be a tough legal argument, right? It's a tough legal case to say we're going to force the speaker to swear in a member of Congress in a particular amount of time. But I also don't know what their legal arguments are. I haven't read the briefs, which is why Joshua Bender, who is the Solicitor General in the Arizona Attorney General's office, joins us now. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. It's good to meet you.
All right. So what is the legal argument as to how the speaker can be forced legally to swear her in?
So I want to clarify one thing, which is that we're not actually seeking an order compelling the speaker to swear her in.
Okay.
What we're seeking is two aspects of a declaratory judgment, and then I'll walk you through how we get there.
Yep.
One is that she will be deemed a member of Congress upon taking the oath of office prescribed by the Constitution and also set forth in statute. And the other is that if the speaker doesn't administer the oath to her, then another person, such as a person authorized by law to administer oaths, may do it. And I can walk you through how we get there, or if you want to ask me a question.
Go ahead. No, the good news is my audience is quite sophisticated, so we can do a little bit of a deep dive here on this. So take me through. So you're asking for a declaratory judgment, just so I understand. So number one, that she be deemed a member of Congress. You mean even without being officially sworn in?
No, once she has taken the oath.
Oh, well, but is that just, I assume that's just in there for, I mean, obviously, why wouldn't that inevitably be the case?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really linked to the second.
Right.
Someone else should. Yeah, right.
Okay.
So here's the thing, right? Everyone agrees that she was lawfully elected. She got like 16. And I think everyone agrees that she's qualified under the Constitution to serve. There's no dispute that she meets the age qualification, the citizenship qualification, the inhabitant of the state qualification. She's not barred by 14th Amendment, Section 3. And indeed, Speaker Johnson has, through his words and actions, made clear that he agrees she is going to be a member of Congress. Her name's on the door. He said she should be serving her constituents. He's said that he'll swear her in. So there's no dispute that she's lawfully elected and qualified to serve. And the Supreme Court's made clear that the House has authority to exclude members prior to seating them only for the reasons listed in the Constitution. So the only thing sitting between her and serving is the oath of office, which the Constitution says a member must take, but it doesn't say, and the Speaker of the House may have discretion as to when to give the oath. And there are statutes that set forth the oath and that impose certain obligations on the giving of the oath. But our view, and I think that we're correct on the law, is that the Speaker can't withhold the oath indefinitely so as to prevent a lawfully elected member from exercising the duties of a member of the House.
But how does a court evaluate what's an acceptable amount of time for the speaker to take?
So I don't think it's so much a question of the amount of time, right? I mean, you might have a dispute about that if, he was, on a trip in Japan for 4 weeks or something. But like, he's actually in the building, right? Everyone's seen him giving interviews in the building, right? So there's no argument about an inability to administer the oath. And there's no dispute about qualifications. And he's basically just saying, I can do it whenever I want. He's probably got, there may be some playing the joints, but there's got to be some limit to that, right? And I think the court ought to impose that here.
This is what Speaker Johnson had to say about this. This is number 10. This is from a few days ago.
I thought Hakeem was a better attorney than that. It's a publicity stunt by a Democrat attorney general in Arizona who sees the national moment and wants to call me out. She has nothing whatsoever to do with what's happening in Congress. Rep-elect Grijalva is to be congratulating for winning her late father's seat. We love that. We're going to administer the oath to her as soon as we get back to our regular legislative session, as I've said 1,000 times.
He said it 1,000 times. So what's your response?
Yeah, I mean, so part of what you heard in there is the admission that we're talking about, right? He concedes that she was elected and is entitled to the seat. And he just doesn't have the authority under any law to, without limit, decide when Arizona.
Well, he's saying when it's back in session, when it's back in a regular session, is what he's saying.
Right, right. But nothing in the Constitution says, he has that authority. Nothing in statute says he has that authority.
Talking to Josh Bender, Solicitor General in Arizona, where they have filed a lawsuit, not to compel Speaker Johnson, but to ensure that, and the correct pronunciation is Grijalva, right? Grijalva, yeah, Grijalva. To ensure that Adelita Grijalva is at least deemed to be a member of Congress, regardless of whether Speaker Johnson has sworn her in or not. Correct? Is that the correct summary of your position?
Yeah, and if he's not going to give her the oath, then someone else ought to be able to give her the oath, and then she should be able to act pursuant to the authority of a member of Congress.
Here's a little bit more of Speaker Johnson. This is from the day before. This is number 11, attacking those who are complaining about this issue.
Say this right now, though, Jake. Rep. Grijalva she should be working for her constituents. I don't know what she's doing. I keep seeing their political stunt videos, and they're knocking on the door, and she's not there. She should be in her office. She should be working or in the district for her constituents. She's already hired 16 staffers. She should be taking constituent calls. She should be directing and helping them navigate the crisis that her colleagues here have created for her constituents. We're happy to administer the oath. We're going to do it as soon as we get back, but we got to get the lights on first. We got to make sure that our troops are being paid and our Border Patrol agents down in Arizona are being paid before we go through the ceremony of administering this oath.
Josh Bender, Solicitor General of Arizona. What do you make of that comment? He's basically blaming it on her and her Democratic colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, again, you hear him conceding that she's the lawfully elected member and is entitled to the seat, so there's no dispute about that. And I mean, I think at this point he's probably spent more time answering interview questions about why he won't seat her than it would take to just administer the oath. So I don't think
now, are you concerned that he's not going to do it at all?
Look, he's said that he's going to do it when they come back into session, and so we will make sure that he does that, but I would hope that he sticks to his word. But in the meantime, Arizona is entitled to its full complement of representation, and Representative-elect Grijalva is entitled to be seated.
But doesn't, as a legal matter, right? I mean, there've been other cases that have been talked about, right? I mean, I think there was a case with Nancy Pelosi swearing someone in. It took 20-something days, et cetera. So, is there some amount of discretionary leeway for the speaker to have to say, yes, you're right, it's not in the Constitution that it has to be in regular session, but I've determined that I'm going to wait until that time to do it?
There may be some discretion. I don't think our case really presents the hard calls there. We talk about some of the recent precedents in our complaint, which generally involved swearing in much faster than this one, even before the official election results were in. The precedent you're talking about with the Congresswoman from Florida, we mentioned in a footnote, and our understanding is that Speaker Pelosi reached out to her. They agreed upon a mutually agreeable time to do the swearing in, which is very different than what you have here. And even then, that was less than a month. We're now at the month mark since Representative-elect Grijalva's election, and we still don't have a date for a swearing in.
So let me ask you the hardest question of all, which is, what do you think happens now as a practical matter? I'm asking you now you've presented a case, you've made a case to the court. Speaker Johnson doesn't seem particularly concerned about your case. What do you think happens now?
Well, I mean, I think there are two things in parallel going, right? I mean, there's the question of when Congress gets back into session and resolves the shutdown, and I don't pretend to be an expert on that. And then there's the question of, what relief we seek in the court and on what timeline, and which happens first. And we'll just have to see.
What is the timeline you're looking for? I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out, how serious you guys are about this, right? I mean, is this just a sort of backup motion where you're filing it and you're sort of making a point, which is the point is she ought to be sworn in already, all right? And so now we're going to make that point by reminding people that she is the duly sworn in member of Congress? Or are you actually doing this because you're hoping to get an expedited review by a court, and that you expect a court is going to step in and have to tell Speaker Johnson that something needs to get done, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, we are serious about this. We are definitely going to move in an expeditious manner. I would hope that like they fix the shutdown and actually solve the problem before that needs to happen, but we're going to move expeditiously so that if they don't, then we get this resolved.
But what's a realistic timeline, right? I mean, give me a realistic timeline for you to work its way through the courts. Let's say you win in the district court and then they appeal. And what's a practical timeline if you are forced, right? Let's say that this shutdown, isn't ending. It's continuing through November and, nothing's being done. What is a realistic timeline?
Yeah, I don't know if I can tell you a realistic timeline right now. I mean, as we've seen, the appeals can be pretty fast, and
yeah.
But we're prepared to move pretty quickly.